Hello, you conniving, craven, pathetic worms. Welcome to the Untitled Marvel Project. I'm your host, Hannah Dexter, joined as always by my sassy and potential love interest variant, Tucker Hazel. We're here to talk about the latest episode of Disney Plus's Loki. And boy, things are starting to kick off in this episode. But before we get into that, if you want to hear us talk about this episode, next episode, anything Marvel, anything movies, video games, anything of that nature, make
A
sure
lot
to
of
click
stuff.
subscribe. Make sure to join our Discord to talk to us via the internet.
Yeah.
And click like on this video and
No
ring
more
the bell.
snail mail. No more carrier pigeons like we used to do. We now
No,
have Discord. It's pretty crazy.
maybe you've heard of it. But Tucker, what did you think of the latest episode of Loki?
I thought it was solid. I
Yeah.
don't think it necessarily had any of the particular standout moments that I enjoyed in the last three, excluding the post-credit sequence.
Yes, we will get to
But
that
it kind of,
eventually.
on the whole, this episode mostly felt like a very natural continuation of what had
Hmm.
happened before, in terms of returning both Loki and Sylvie to the TVA, having Mobius interrogate him, have Loki tell him that the TVA is lying to him. It all felt like pretty pretty predictable on the whole from the things that we had set up
Hmm.
in the previous episodes. Not meaning it was bad. I think that some of the character moments in here, with Mobius coming to grips with his own reality,
Hmm.
with Loki also coming to terms with the fact that he has formed a connection with someone in a way that he hasn't previously. Those were all very solid. Um, but I guess I kind of just expected another twist. The twist this time being that Mobius gets pruned, and then
Yeah,
Loki gets pruned, and
Tucker,
then
I'm
four
I'm
minutes
still
later
I'm still
we find
mourning
out they're
my
not pruned.
yeah. Tucker, I'm still mourning that our boy Owen Wilson got pruned. Of course, not really because of the post
Yeah.
credit scene, which we'll get to eventually. Don't worry. But yeah, I also really like this episode. I think yeah, naturally, if you break down, like I think I said a couple episodes back, that if you break this down, 6 episodes, you got your beginning, middle, climax. We're kicking off into the climax, baby, and it sure damn as hell does feel like it because uh, this this episode maybe has the highest ratio of like lies told to the runtime of
Sure.
any episode
Yeah.
of a Marvel series because people are just lying to each other. Ravonna, especially, I really liked the conversation between her and Mobius because
Yeah.
he's so good at lying and be like, "I'm protecting you and you're my friend and I care
Yeah.
so much about this organization." You're like, "Shut the hell up! You know what's going on here." And
Well,
yeah,
and honestly, maybe she doesn't really know. I mean, she's clearly got some sort of connection. She's spoken to timekeepers many times. The I think the timekeepers being puppet robots of some
yeah,
greater force was actually probably one of my favorite reveals in this episode.
yeah, it's
It
great.
kind of keeps that mystery going
Hmm.
even further, and the fan theory that one of them was Kang is now out the window. I mean, Kang
Well,
could
he
be
could
controlling them.
Kang
Is
could
it
be the
only
man
one
behind the
force
curtain.
behind? Oh, like it's like the Wizard of
The
Oz.
Lizard of Oz.
He's got it like
Pay no
rock 'em, sock 'em, roll 'em.
attention to the Kang behind the curtain.
But the one thing I want to say about the timekeepers is it's cool that we finally saw them. We got a solid action sequence in their presence as they were just sitting there looking on.
Hmm.
But when we first saw them, I'm like, oh, these look kind of cheap. Like the
Hmm.
CGI is not fantastic. They kind of look rubbery. Um, I still think that. I guess it's kind of excused because they're not supposed to be real creatures.
I think they look
They're
fine.
they're just robot things, but
Hmm.
especially the one guy with the big fat mustache.
Oh, with the
Uh,
jowls.
yeah, that just did not like. It just looked so. I mean, they're aliens, not real CGI, but they look
Hmm.
like fake in a way that Marvel CGI has sort of skipped in the past, where Thanos looks gritty and real. Like you could
Hmm.
reach out and rub your fingers like a washing board across his chin,
And
and
boy, wouldn't I like to.
and
Yeah,
I
boy
will.
would. Yeah.
But
Uh.
I thought that their CGI wasn't great, but
Hmm.
they're gone now, so I don't
Yeah.
have to deal with that
Doesn't
anymore. And
matter.
whoever's behind it will presumably be they'll put more effort into the visuals of whatever character that is.
Yeah, sure. What did you think of our little Lady Sif cameo in this?
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
In the end, kind of useless, but the fact that they brought her back was
It's
fun.
fun.
We both thought, like, oh shit,
It's always Jamie Alexander is the actress for Lady Sif, right?
maybe no
I
idea.
think so. But it's always funny because she's the one that they bring in. It's happened twice now that she's the one they bring in to tie it into the larger universe. It happened first in Agents of Shield and now in this.
I didn't know she was in that.
Yeah, she's that was like the first big, oh my god, the MCU actor is here, and it's Jamie Alexander, Lady Sif, and it happened again in this. But hey, I thought it was cool, the time cell.
Yeah.
I also like the detail of like she always hurts him, especially like the last time that she does it. She doesn't actually punch him or anything like that, but she still sticks that knife in him emotionally with "You are alone and you always will be," and that is the purpose of the time cell. So that was a cool little detail, I thought.
Yeah. I think on the whole, the series does best is revealing the true nature behind people and analyzing their thought processes and the ways that they hide behind walls of lies and stuff. It's a really interesting way to sort of break down characters that we haven't gotten haven't got a chance to see in others, especially the movies.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that also I really liked how they fleshed out and then sort of destroyed Ravonna and Mobius's relationship
Yeah.
as sort of the two connections that we have to the TVA in terms of characters that we're familiar with.
What about Casey?
That's
We haven't
true.
seen Casey in so many
He
episodes.
is on the Letterboxd cast.
Okay.
And not even like some other characters are on there. Like it's like 6 people and he's one of them, which is fun.
Nice.
But one thing I am realizing that this is a really small like core cast for such a epic multiverse time scaling show.
I think
We've
that's
got
what you
really only 4 or 5 characters.
I think that's what you
know
need
anything
is
about.
if you scale it down to a small core cast, I think then you have a lot of room to build strong connections between all of them, and they have.
Yeah.
I really liked I like I said, I liked the Mobius and Ravonna. I also liked the Mobius and Loki stuff when Mobius realizes that Loki wasn't lying to him about all the TVA agents being variants. And he has that nice little line like, you can be anything or anyone you want, even a good person, in case anyone told you different. I thought that was a very nice little moment. And he tries to like talk his way out of the deal with Ravonna at the end. I think I just really like Owen Wilson in this, and I thought he was gone,
fantastic.
but he's not, because Tucker. When people are pruned, Tucker. I don't know if you knew, but they don't exactly disappear.
Somewhere.
They go to some void, and Tucker. We have a few new characters there, I think.
Yeah, more Loki variants.
A few new faces. One of them being, of course, acclaimed actor Richard E. Grant in the cheesiest little spandex outfit that I've ever seen.
That's probably one of my favorite just like funny moments of this entire series so far. We've kind of stripped back the comedy from those first few episodes where Loki's making quips to focus on really heartfelt, like scary, deep shit from episodes 3 and 4. But then they have that, and there's a crocodile Loki.
There's a crocodile Loki.
Oh my god!
Of course,
and Richard E. Grant is wearing like it's literally. They do like the Loki costume. It's
they do like the Vision thing from one of the episodes of WandaVision.
Yeah.
And of course, you also have like a kid Loki, which a lot of people were calling out, and then like another variant that I'm not familiar with, who seems to have like a homemade Mjolnir, which is really cool. So maybe he's like
honestly on the whole,
he
doesn't really have any Loki traits, so he might not be a Loki.
Maybe he's a Thor.
Maybe he's a Thor variant, but he has no horns. He has no green or yellow or gold or whatever. He has no cape. He's got no logos on him that would insinuate Loki. He just happens to be by 3 other Lokis. I think people are gonna miss out on the fact that there's a crocodile Loki.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious.
I think that's gonna be passed over. But I'm excited. Honestly, I think this is the most excited I've been by one of these post-credit scenes, because it means that in the next episode, not only are we going to see these characters, but I think the possibilities for opening up to other variants of other characters is possible, and it could even open up to something like seeing Thor variants. Are we gonna see Throg? That would. Are we gonna see Beta Ray Bill? Are we like there's there's ways that they could spin these characters that we're familiar with that are versions, like Thunderstrike. We've got all these versions of characters that we're familiar with in the comics that could be variants, and that's just an easy way to introduce them, or at least just be Easter eggs. So
Yeah,
next episode is going to be fun
it's
for
very
me to
cool.
peel back the layers of my comic reading mind and be like,
Yeah, the inclusion of Loki implies the existence of Throg. So
sure,
yes, we
yeah.
shall see. But yeah, it's very, very cool that they finally dropped in like Richard E. Grant, who we knew was in the show, and we probably knew was going to be a Loki. But we also got some other variants, and as Tucker says, we might have plenty of old room for lots of other cameos and Easter eggs and such. So very exciting, very, very exciting. Tucker, is there anything else you want to talk about from Loki episode 4?
No, I mean, I really think we covered everything. On the whole, I think there's not a super large amount to talk about in this episode because most of it wasn't surprising. It was predictable. Again, that doesn't mean it was bad. I
Yeah.
think I was just expecting some extra little twist that made the episode on the whole a little more interesting, because as we were wrapping it up, I was like, oh, yeah, I after watching episode 1, 2, and 3, I could have easily seen where this episode was going, and it did go that way. And luckily, we're now spinning into a direction with we
have lots of
behind the
unknowns.
Timekeepers and extra variants that will inherently spice it up in a way that we can't predict yet. So these last episodes are going to be very, very interesting.
Okay, Tucker, I'm going to ask you, and you might not have any clue, but Tucker, who is behind the TVA? Who is it? Give me a name. Give me a character. Give me a name.
Mephisto.
Is this Mephisto? Oh
No,
my god, that's a big call.
No, but I do think that the fan theory of Kang being involved in it would be interesting.
Yes.
We know that Jonathan Majors is playing that character in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Doesn't mean anything for him not showing up before that, and setting up such an important Marvel villain in a larger capacity, I think would be awesome. Like that, if he's on the way to being the next Thanos, because we can't quite tell yet. We got timey-wimey shit. We've got multiverse shit going on. But Kang would fit that role. So I don't want to just go with the grain on that, but I think considering we already know that the character is in fall, not Gen 4, Phase 4. Shut him up. Get him in early.
Get him in there. Jonathan Majors is a recognizable actor. He's a real up and coming celebrity. So I think maybe people who don't know he's been cast as Kang will have that connection there. Also, that casting came very, very early, because that movie hasn't even started filming yet, has it?
No, I don't think so.
Exactly. So it's entirely possible, and I'm also going to stake my claim on that, is that Jonathan Majors will show up in the final episode of Loki as Kang the Conqueror. You heard it here first, folks. Well, you didn't. You probably heard it before. But you heard it here also, folks.
That's it.
That's it.
We talked about episode 4.
We'll be back next week with the penultimate episode of Loki, and we'll hope to see you there. Thanks for watching, everyone.